Luigi Bowser Inside Story has the best abilities in the Mario and Luigi franchise in my opinion, mainly because you get to play as Bowser, and his abilities you can just use casually in the overworld, so that makes it very fun to use. But I made you guys vote on every single ability, telling me which one was your favorite, and here are the results. There was 83 votes, and that's ridiculous to think about, so let's just get right into this ranking. Actually, before we get right into it, I am 25 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers, so if you're not subscribed yet, or you know a Mario RPG fan that is not subscribed, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. But other than that, let's get started on this ranking. The ground pound didn't get spared a single vote, which is not only hilarious, but also is very well deserved, mainly because it's just an ability that's super situational, compared to the other abilities that Bowser has, like the Spike Ball and the Sliding Punch, where those abilities you're going to be using just to move around the world faster, where with this one, all you're really doing with it is just turning on pink switches and doing those weird item block things that are very rare throughout the world. So there's just not much use for it, but when you do use it, I'm not gonna lie, it controls kinda awkwardly, because when you press Y the first time, it gets thrown in the air, but the second time, my Y button sometimes just doesn't get responded to, so it's just very annoying. So not only do you not use this ability that much, but when you do use it, it's very awkward to control, so I think it very much makes sense for this to be at the bottom of the list, and why it deserves to have 0 votes. It's just not that good of an ability to use. The Mini Mario ability isn't bad. I never will say it's bad. It's just a really basic ability in this game, especially in Bowser Inside Story, the game we're talking about, because there's some really unique abilities with Bowser, so I would never vote for this ability specifically. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, which is why I can understand why 2 people voted for it, because there's nothing objectively wrong. It's just basic, and we've seen it in other Mario and Luigi games, and that just it kind of makes it boring to me, which is why it's ranked this low for many people. I mean, I like it, it's fine, but I would not put it any higher. I'm fine with it being this low. Shell Mario is my least favorite ability in Bowser Inside Story. I am sorry for all the people that voted for it, but I do want to quickly mention that Shell Mario and 2 other abilities that actually got tied with 4 votes went into a tiebreaker poll, and Shell Mario did the worst. They got 4 votes out of 25. That's not that great, and that's honestly how I feel about the ability. It's not that great. It's not that great of an ability. I have 3 main problems with it. My main problem, I'll get it out of the way, is that it's super underused. It's used like 5 times at most throughout the game. That is ridiculous. There is just not many times that you use it, and you can't really use it just randomly throughout, because then the next problem is that the only time you can actually use this ability is when you have a shell block by you. If you don't, you can't randomly use it, which is just not that fun, because I think if you actually had access to it at all times, it could be a fun ability just to use randomly. But you can't. You have to be by a shell block, which is very rare throughout the overworld. And the other problem, this is probably minor between the other 2, but if you jump with Mario, you get rid of the shell. I just randomly jump with Mario, and I get rid of the shell, which means I have to go back to a shell block, which is sometimes pretty irritating, but I won't push that too much on the Shell Mario, because that's kind of my mistake and not on the design itself. Because, I mean, getting rid of the shell with Mario is probably a good idea, so I'll let that one slide. But in reality, I just don't like Shell Mario that much. You're using it so little throughout the game. You're using it less than the ground pound from Bowser. So that's really disappointing. And it's why it's my least favorite ability from Bowser Inside Story. But I will say it's unique. So at least I'll give you guys that credit. But that's all I really can give. Balloon Mario and Shell Mario were very close together on this poll, but they got separated by 1 single vote. That is crazy to think about, but I actually like Balloon Mario much more than Shell Mario, so I'm glad that this happened. The main reason I actually like it more, though, is because even though it has the exact main problems, like you not being able to use it unless you're by an air pump, and it's probably one of the most underused abilities in the game. The main reason I like it, though, is because it's a fun ability to use. I mean, you jump really high, and then you float down really gracefully. That's just really fun to do, and it's why I actually enjoy this ability a decent amount. And for the people that voted for it, I do understand why. But again, since it does have the main problems, I don't think it deserves to be on the top half of this list, even though number 5 is still pretty good. The spin jump completely demolished both Shell Mario and Balloon Mario in the tiebreaker poll. It got over half of the votes, and it got quadruple what Shell Mario got. That is ridiculous to think about, but it makes sense. Mainly because you can use the spin jump whenever you want to, compared to Shell Mario and Balloon Mario, where you can only use it in specific areas, where for Shell Mario where there's a shell block, and for Balloon Mario where there's an air pump, and there's not very many in the game. So for the spin jump, it's just more practical to use in general, even though you're not going to be using it casually. Also, I want to point out that it controls completely fine. You're seeing it in almost every single Mario and Luigi game, so there's nothing really wrong with the spin jump. The only thing I might want to point out is that it's basic compared to other abilities in this game, but that's basically how I feel about Mini Mario, and it is a bit more versatile than Mini Mario, so it being number 4 on this list makes sense to me. I feel like that's the perfect spot for the spin jump. The Drill Bros is the most useful ability in Mario and Luigi, just in general, because you use the drill to get beans and you use it to get under stuff, which is just a beneficial thing in general. And also, I just want to point out, the top 3 were very heavy hitters. I mean, all the votes basically just went to the top 3. They actually totaled to 69, which is just... it's just the best thing ever, and... I mean, the Drill Bros already got 10 votes, and this was the highest voted Mario and Luigi ability, which makes sense, because Mario and Luigi doesn't really have amazing abilities in this game that is that fun, but the Drill Bros is definitely the most useful, and that's where it compensates. I mean, that's the thing about it. The Drill Bros, while not being that fun, it not only outclasses Mini Mario, but you can also get beans with it, which is why it's the most useful ability in Mario and Luigi. The Sliding Punch got 20 votes, and if you don't remember, the Drill Bros, number 3, got 10 votes. We are doubling the votes already. Ridiculous. But it makes sense, because the Sliding Punch is a phenomenal ability. You learn it at Dimblewood, and you're going to be using it all the way up until you get locked in the vault with Bowser. That is a long time. That's over half of the game, which is... I mean, it's understandable why, because not only can you break stronger rocks, but the main reason why people voted for it is that it's faster than just walking around as Bowser. And it makes it very easy to get that initial hit, that first strike on enemies, because you're just randomly sliding into them, which I can see as an annoying thing for people, which is why I do think it's understandable why it's number 2. And I just think that the number 1 ability, you have more maneuvering. You can maneuver better. Maneuvering, I don't even think is a word. But you can move better with the number 1 ability, while with the Sliding Punch, you can only go in one direction, and you can't really control while you're sliding. So, even though the Sliding Punch is a phenomenal ability, once you get to Peach's Castle, there is one that outshines it. The Spike Ball got 39 votes out of 83 people that voted. That is almost half the poll. That is almost double what the Sliding Punch got. And that is almost quadruple what the Drill Bros got. But I'm so glad that this happened, because the Spike Ball is also my favorite ability for Bowser's Inside Story. Not only can you ride on spiky floor, not only can you ride up muddy walls, not only can you do some cool pinball puzzles in Peach's Castle, but the most important reason why people voted for the Spike Ball is that you can move pretty fast with it while in full control. Now, the Sliding Punch does have advantages compared to the Spike Ball. You get the Sliding Punch much earlier in the game, and you can get that first strike just randomly if you run into an enemy, compared to the Spike Ball where you do nothing. But I gotta say, I would still use the Spike Ball because you have full control of where you go compared to the Sliding Punch. I think that's the main advantage compared to the Sliding Punch. But for the reasons that I just mentioned, I do understand why you guys voted for the Sliding Punch. But for me personally, I would way rather use the Spike Ball. Thank you guys for watching this video. My next video will probably be on the poll for Super Paper Mario, so I hope you guys are excited for that. And if you last this long and you haven't subscribed yet, I really appreciate subscribing. Again, I'm literally 25 subscribers away. But other than that, G-bye.